Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In case you're just joining me, I'm Kevin. I'm aware that I look like this. I'm bald, I'm skinny, I have this really nasally Western New York accent. Some of the words I might say differently are milk, potatoes, porch, creek. If you can get past all of that, then why don't you join me as I log my ownership of my 2022 F150 Powerboost. Come along for the ride.
Kevin!
All right, I'm about to do my first fill up on the truck. Trip 2, it was reset when I took delivery of the truck about a week ago, and I drove quite a bit. So I'm at about 546 miles there, as you can see, averaging about 21.7 according to the car's computer, and it says I have about 73 miles until empty. So I was hoping to squeak out 600, but it is brand new. So from what I understand is fuel economy does maybe get a little bit better as time goes on. I am going to look for a top tier fuel station as Ford recommends, but I am only going to use 87 octane. I don't plan to do a major towing or have heavy loads on this truck very often. So I think I'm just going to roll with the 87.
Keep on rolling, baby.
And especially due to the increasing costs of gas, I think gas has unfortunately gone up about 30 cents since I first bought the truck in only a week. So, but I knew what I was getting into. Yeah, so I'll stop at the gas station shortly, and then I'll share with you what it costs. Okay, so an update here. I'm going to try and stretch it to get 600 miles. There's 50 miles left. The low fuel light just came on, and I'm at 569.9 miles. I'm going to try and get to 600 before I fill up. We'll see what happens. So as you can see, this is trip 2. This is the trip that I reset as soon as I took delivery of the vehicle. So today is Wednesday. I took delivery of the vehicle last Tuesday, so it's been about a week and a day. And I drive a lot for work, so I've put on 608 miles. There was about 11 and a half miles on it when I received it. So I assume that trip 1 here is the dealer reset this trip maybe when they first filled up the tank in general, and then a few miles later you'll see I took delivery of the vehicle and I put 608 miles on it, average about 21.9 miles per gallon, and as you can see right there, 15 miles to empty. All right, let's fill it up and we'll see what happens. Okay, so we have to hit this button here to open up the fuel door. It says fuel door is open. Okay, so I almost didn't make it to the gas station, partly because I was looking for a top tier fuel station, and I passed several gas stations on the way to get to the gas station that I wanted to go to, and ultimately it showed on the gauge here that I had 15 miles to empty. So I ultimately got to 608 miles, and it probably would have been less than that if I would have stopped at one of those earlier gas stations. So a little breakdown of the driving that I did over the course of that week. About 60% of it was city, about 40% of it was highway, and this is just me guesstimating. About 65% of that time I was in eco mode, maybe 30% in normal, and then 5% probably between sport and slippery. I kind of messed around a little bit in both those modes, just, you know, because I wanted to try out the different driving modes. When I was on the highway in that 40% of the time, or roughly 40% of the time, I would say about 60% of that highway driving was about 60 miles an hour, and then about 40% of it was at 70 miles an hour. And then 80% of the days, I would say, were probably in the 50 to 60 degree range Fahrenheit. And then 20% of the days were about 70 to 80, so a couple warm days mixed in there. And then 2 or 3 of those days had a decent amount of wind, 30 mile per hour gusts, which I know can affect the fuel economy in a big truck like this. Okay, so when it comes down to the numbers, it's unfortunate that gas is now where I'm at, $4.89 a gallon, and it's only going to get more expensive. Once again, I knew that getting into it. Sadly, I had to do it in 2 transactions because it maxed me out at $125 on the first transaction, and I had to reswipe the credit card for the second one. But all told, I filled up 28 0.953 gallons, according to the gauge on the fuel pump at the gas station I was at. This has a 30.6 gallon tank, so I'm not sure if that makes sense or not. If it was showing I had 15 miles to empty, maybe that makes sense. I don't know. If you know more about that, put it down in the comments. So the trip computer obviously said that I got closer to 22, but if you do the math and do the calculation, it was more like 20.999551. So you round up and even 21, which is kind of what I anticipated this truck getting anyway. But more or less, I did this to see if I could get to 600 miles of range, because it's just nice not to have to stop at the gas station as frequently as I did before, because my last vehicle, it was after 350 miles. Every 350 miles I was stopping at the gas station, and it's annoying. But yeah, that's more or less it. I'm hoping the miles per gallon could potentially increase a little bit as we head into the summer here. And I know that they will probably take a dip down in the winter again. I fully anticipate that. As I mentioned, I used 87 octane. I don't plan to use 91 or 93 octane, because I don't anticipate, unless I get a small boat, which is a possibility. I don't think I'm going to be doing much towing in this, and other than having a bunch of stuff in the back of the truck, I don't think I'm going to tax it too much. The car reports that this should get a combined 23 miles per gallon, and I know the 2021 said 24, so this is an adjustment down on the same engine and setup or whatever. So if you know anything about how they did those testings, those EPA testings, if it was they were using a higher octane fuel, I don't know. I've read contrasting stuff on the internet, but if you know, please put it down in the comments. Yeah, so that's basically it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. It really helps me bring more content like this to you guys and grow the channel. Please like, and for God's sake, if I'm doing something wrong, put it in the comments. As I mentioned before, I know what I look like. I know what I sound like. But if you can get past that, give me a critique on what I'm doing right or wrong in reviewing this truck as I own it. I hope to see you in the next video, and thanks.
Kevin!